Hello and welcome to IGN UK Podcast number 298. My name is Gav Murphy and this week I'm joined by...
I've got to do mine then?
Yes, do it.
I'll do you. Daniel Krupa.
Hello.
And...
Alex Simmons.
There we go. And this week we've been not enjoying the BBC...
Introducing yourself.
The BBC's Coding Week. Which has been on BBC all week, and it's like a sort of initiative. It's called like Digital First or something like that, about getting people into coding.
So we first heard about this a while ago.
Yeah.
And in principle, I thought
Brilliant.
this sounds like a great idea. You know, a big corporation like the BBC, massive media giant, getting behind something that we all believe in. Brilliant industry, the games industry. Wouldn't it be great to show such a thing, such a successful industry, in a positive light?
And it hasn't really.
It hasn't.
No.
Not really.
Oh, some of it has.
Some of it has, most of it hasn't, I think.
Must be balanced like the BBC.
Yes. Well, I think the worst thing...
Really?
That's what they strive for, balance.
They do, but
you have to strive for something in order to achieve it.
I think the BBC get unfairly slagged off quite a lot, because I think the BBC is brilliant. But... like the main thing that I watched was the Gamechangers, and I just felt that was just
leave with this. Yeah.
That wasn't very good.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah.
I actually think it was actively bad.
It's reductive. It showed gamers in a really, really awful light, and I don't think it just seemed really pointless.
Well, let's take a step back. So the idea is that it's obviously going to tell the story of the most successful game of all time, Grand Theft Auto. And then as we got nearer to kind of finding out more details, then actually it was going to tell one very small part of that, i.e. the feud between Rockstar Games and Jack Thompson, the attorney who was the moral crusader for the whole of the US, pretty much.
That's right.
Rockstar were not involved in the creation of the show.
Nope.
And even that, for me, was the first kind of like, you know, many of the scenes have been over-dramatized. I forget the wording, but it was something like that. Timelines have been changed. The stuff has been over-dramatized. So immediately I was like, okay, right, I get that. That's what dramatizations are.
Yeah.
But it wasn't very dramatic a lot of the time.
I thought it was just really flat. So I thought the writing was bad because nobody has a human interaction.
No.
They're always outlining bullet points and like putting forward arguments or explaining what they're doing, like just unnatural. That like the design meetings, which should be really fascinating, he talks about the project that I don't think Sam Houser would ever talk in that way, like constantly saying what we need to do with the game. You wouldn't do that. I don't think you would. You would just be talking about, right, we need to work on like animation. Like you'd be more specific. It was just so
like someone like him who
inauthentic
is incredibly in touch with every area of his product.
Yeah.
Just came across as somebody who doesn't really understand anything.
Just
he just sends people
like,
off.
he's quite skittish as well. Like he's kind of all over the place.
You don't really know, like, and he looks really detached from everything. Like he's just sending this dude who's flying around the world.
I didn't get that.
What's he doing?
Yeah,
like a door-to-door salesman.
Well, I guess that was meant to be that shows how like overworked that guy was. I think.
Yeah,
like,
and also it's a global
product.
But part of the problem with that was that they didn't really give any backstory to any of these characters were.
But what their jobs, like what they did.
Obviously, it focused. Yeah, exactly.
Like Dan Houser,
I'm not quite sure who this Jamie guy was.
Yeah.
No. To the point where I was like, I need to Google him.
Yeah.
And I know a bit about Rockstar, but Dan Houser, Sam's brother, which is mentioned
Oxford
in
graduate.
passing.
Yeah. Writes the games.
Also, chief writer for GTA.
Yeah. And there's another like. Yeah, well, I get like obviously they're massively weaned on American culture, but they painfully outline that. And one thing, there's just a scene where they're just saying movies to each other, just names of movies. It's like, all right, we all like movies.
Yeah.
We don't just sit around just saying names of movies to each other. You would.
That's the thing. I think you're right. I think I think the problem is a lot of the stuff that they say is taken from like transcripts of like depositions and things like that. So even though it might be accurate, whereas Sam Houser might have said, "Oh, we wanted to make the first black lead character in a video game," that might be actually something that he said, but it was said in an interview thing. So when he says when you put it into a character's voice and a character's like mouth to come out of, it just sounds like you're being interviewed or he's talking in sound bites. And it's like no one talks like that.
Yeah, because it would be a more interesting discussion.
Absolutely.
Rather than just like, because I guess like if a lot of that's taken from statements that's after the game has been made, and yet he's talking about it before it's been made, so it's like it doesn't feel right. And we're saying it's quite hard to do, like if you're really into a certain subject, to then watch a movie, obviously you've got an ear for like what sounds like an authentic bit of dialogue. And I think like tech stuff, anything to do with like technology is really easy to make it a little bit rubbish.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about The Social Network.
Yeah.
That's a movie about something quite recent.
Yeah.
Involves real people. Obviously written by a very talented writer, Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
But a lot of that never comes across like, oh, I don't.
Yeah.
Apart from one line you said.
Yeah, there's one line where that line where he goes, people just don't walk around with their relationship status above their, and he's sort of just like, oh, I've got an idea, and then he runs off, and like that's.
But nothing is like Zuckerberg says in that movie. Like you get a sense of who he is as a character, and whether that's true to life or not, for the purposes of a drama, it's great.
Absolutely,
he's a dick,
absolutely.
and he's like ignoring that girl. Like first scene, and he's ignoring that girl. He's like, I know something about this guy. Whereas Sam Houser is just like shouting what GTA is at people.
It was really. I think the overall sort of attitude of the entire week, I think, has been really sort of, it's that same thing. Anytime you see anything about video games, is one of like three different feelings. And like that Charlie Brooker thing, which did like the history of video games, I thought that was going to be really good because the people involved were really talented. And then it's just one of these things, it's got that same old thing, which is like video games. People play them.
They're a thing.
Sometimes they make more than movies, and it's just like it's always the same thing. It's like, but they are violent. Is that hurting? It's just like it's the same questions over and over again. It's just like, have we not moved on from this?
That's the thing, because you would have thought like the people that are going to watch Gamechangers, you would assume are people who are into video games. So but do you not think?
I think they want to cast wider as well.
Definitely.
Okay, or maybe, but at least there is a way of catering for both audiences. Without being so stupid and dumbing it down. I know
it's a great coup. Like
I didn't think he had the kind of
he didn't have anything to pull it off.
Yeah, maybe, but. I just get the sense that Sam Houser, it may be skittish, it probably is very sweary, very angry, and probably like imagine being put in that situation where you've got to deal with that. But he just didn't have the kind of the chops.
I know you mean.
I know it's like a made-for-TV, but I don't think they've got Daniel Radcliffe in it. It's a big Hollywood star. Like Jobs is coming out soon. With Fassbender and early write-ups. It's like he looks nothing like Steve Jobs in it, but he's getting rave reviews for his performance. But again, it's an Aaron Sorkin film. It's like based on real life, but I'm sure you'll get to know what drove that character.
But even like some of the stuff with Jack Thompson, where you see the impact that it has on his family with the hate calls and on his son at school and all that kind of stuff, it sort of starts to go that way, but then it doesn't really go anywhere.
Also, because it's 90 minutes, it's not short, it's feature length, but it feels really thin. Like it doesn't feel like, I can't really remember.
Well, it feels like it takes place
dramatic moments or anything. Really, it's just
like Tilly made a really good point where it feels like a couple of times it's building towards this really big moment, but then it doesn't really happen. Like at the beginning, it feels like it's building towards this really big court scene, and the court scene gets chucked out in about 30 seconds. It's like, that one's over, and then it's like, okay, now it feels like it's building towards something else, and then that doesn't happen either. Like
it's the hot coffee stuff comes in later on.
Exactly, and then the deposition that Daniel Radcliffe goes into is just about 2 minutes long. It's just him in front of like 3 people in a room.
Because I thought that scene was going to be much bigger.
Yeah. Because you said it was coming up, and I blinked and missed it. I was like, oh,
but also the way that like his lawyers were saying, like like we're going to go easy on you compared to the feds. And I was like, oh, this is going to be the big scene. And you're right, it was just like an office in the middle of nowhere.
It was really anticlimactic.
But it was like, you were in there for 9 hours. It's like, well, you didn't show anything. There was none of the argument or him having to kind of. It was just like
fight the corner for games.
Exactly. They could have.
That's the dramatic scene. That's like.
They could
you can't handle the truth.
They could have done a really cool scene, like in Hunger, like that sort of like one-shot scene with Fassbender and the guy from Game of Thrones. Like they could have done a really good scene with that, with him just like one shot of everything and him laying everything out on the table. Didn't do that though.
And then that ending, where he gets in the car and it's all like weird, horrible.
Well, I to be honest, I thought a lot of the kind of whether it green screen montage stuff was just so awful. Like the bit at the beginning where you've got the stereotypical guy with glazed over eyes running around GTA with a.
You made the point. You made the point. It's like you can't play GTA like that. You just like get arrested or killed.
Will be finished.
You won't
play
that for that long.
And the harsh reality is, when you play GTA, you're driving for 95% of the time. And you might go through a red light. That's it.
So the other thing as well, and you were in this, Grouper, are video games really that bad? Which all straight away, I've got no, except the fact that you were in it, I've got no interest in watching that, because it's already laid out its opinion on the table. Are video games really that bad? They're not bad at all.
So I suppose the BBC about this documentary, like, I think even the end of last year, they were researching it, and the guy who like heads up Horizon, really into video games, plays video games, like we all do, like properly into them.
Yeah.
And I filmed the bit for it back in July or something, and I didn't know the title of it until like a couple of weeks ago. And when I saw the title come through on an email, I was just a bit like, really?
So I
was being interviewed for an hour about a variety of topics and subjects, and the thrust of the show was always going to be an examination, because Horizon is BBC's flagship science program. That is their angle. It's just, to me, the title strikes me as unscientific in the sense that, are video games really that bad? Really is the word. It's really the word, because you're proceeding from an assumption rather than testing it.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you can read really in two ways. Are they really that bad? As in, are they bad for you at all?
Yeah.
Or you can read it as, they are bad for you.
Yeah. But how bad are they?
Really, are they really bad?
Yeah.
So neither's good. The latter's worse. It's just odd title.
And also, like, when they asking you about like Carmageddon and stuff like that, it's like, really? Like, are we still on this?
Yeah, one of the few. I talked about Ranger stuff and like also like game and addiction, and I haven't seen the full finished piece. When I've heard it's very like, it is balanced and it's quite fair, but I still don't really like the title because and it's also like, I guess the title is like, to use an internet term, it's clickbaity. Like, you watch that whether you agree. Or whether you disagree, it kind of entices you. I know you said it put you off, but I think some people are like, well, this will be wrong.
It reaffirms what their kind of beliefs are.
Yeah.
But that was also, again, the thing with Gamechangers, like all the way through is like, and maybe this is actually how it panned out, but Jack Thompson's the whole thing about, I've got to save our children is like, these games aren't meant for children. They never have been. They've had ESRB ratings, PEGI ratings, whatever you want to call them. They should not be sold to minors.
That never came up in the Gamechangers at all. It was never like... they sort of mentioned it. They were like, "Oh, they're not for kids." But they're like, I don't think they made it obvious. Like,
you showed kids playing.
Like but also they didn't make it obvious and be like, it's people. Like, it's been given an 18 rating.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really, really weird scene. I know Pixels is a terrible film, but there's a really, like, one of the driving forces of Pixels is that the games now are different to they are than where they were when, like, Adam Sandler and all those guys were like amazing at them. So the idea is that, like, instead of playing like to live, you play to sort of basically the way that they do it is they have a little kid who's playing The Last of Us. And like, the kid's not old enough to play Last of Us, and no one's really made a point of this, but the kid's not old enough to be playing Last of Us, and he's like getting the message of the film across by talking about The Last of Us, and he's like, oh, okay, but like, how is that good? Because that kid is about 11 years old. He should not be playing The Last of Us. And like, I don't think people who don't play video games know that there are these ratings and stuff out there. I think they just think video games are just released and anyone can pick them up.
But then that's just ignorance, and it's not something you can, like, I don't know, it's on boxes, it's I don't know, it's hard because for us it feels self-evident that that's the case.
But the fact of the matter is, it is illegal to sell an 18 rated game to anybody younger than that. It's as simple as that. And as a parent, you can be prosecuted. As a retailer, you can be prosecuted. It's like, what more can you do?
I don't like the way that they depict people playing it, like, just like they're like completely absorbed. It's like playing a game, like, I still know what's going on. It's not like,
although, to be fair, right now I'd rather be playing Metal Gear.
You are playing it. There's one thing I thought was quite interesting when his wife walked in on Jack Thompson and he was like loving playing it. It was kind of almost like he was into playing it, and he was like, oh, this is awful. Well, that's kind of interesting.
But even he was running around just going.
I know, never played it before. He's brilliant at it.
It's really like we got a question from Amy Kyber, who, like, amongst other things, she's watched a lot of it, but she said, why do you think people enjoy violent media so much? Like, that wasn't a thing that was really discussed on any of it, really, was it? Like,
I don't know. Well, that's for me, that's the overarching question, or the underlying one. Like, that's not just specific to video games, And I think she makes the point is, like, if it's just violence for violence sake, then it is gratuitous and it's pornographic and it's weird. Like, why are you actually just watching that? That's like going on like the WTF subreddit and looking at like awful images. That's weird.
I didn't even know that existed.
If it's within like context and it's for a storytelling purpose, then violence is like one of the most powerful narrative tools that you can ever have. Like, Shakespeare is incredibly violent, like people eating each other and gouging eyes out. Like, violence is part of all of our art. And like, to say that you can't use that is weird. And I think because games, relatively young, for a long time were playthings for kids. And I think that's the legacy it has to deal with, because arcade or early stuff, it was like a family toy, and it was bought as Christmas presents for kids, and now it's transitioned.
That's the key thing, is that if you look at a lot of the of the parents today would have grown up when games were for kids.
Yeah.
And that's simply not the case. And I think in a generation's time, that won't be the case.
No.
People will be more savvy, but there's still the assumption that it's all Mario, Nintendo, whatever you want it to be. But
it's a shame because there's more good games for kids now than ever before.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I played loads of stuff I shouldn't have done at the time, but so much better options now. Like if I were growing up and there's like Lego Dimensions, I'd lose my mind.
Don't need to play GTA.
Losing my mind now.
Yeah. So let's bring us to a close then. So why do you think that like mainstream media gets coverage of this stuff so wrong?
Because they don't do it frequently enough.
Yeah.
Like the coverage of games media has gone elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it's online, it's stuff we do, it's stuff on YouTube. That audience that you're not going to it. I think what all media, like papers or like TV should do is they should develop content, like in-depth stuff for people like our age and older. Cater to that audience who isn't going to watch PewDiePie on YouTube. Who might not even watch some of our stuff, but like BBC could maybe get access to the inside of Nintendo, for instance.
Imagine if
I'd watch that documentary.
If Gamechangers was actually a 2-hour film in the style of Social Network. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. I'd love to know the true story behind GTA. I think it'd be amazing.
But then, the Social Network isn't the true story behind it. That's based on a book, an unofficial book as well, man.
But again, made to that standard.
Basically, you just need better filmmakers involved. Like, I'm sure
it did have Aaron Sorkin and David Fincher in fairness.
Like some of the better, yeah. But like, that's not beyond the realm of possibility that happening.
But even for me, like having worked before I started IGN, I was working at the Mail on Sunday, and even if you've got people on the ground who know their stuff about whether it's tech or whether it's music or whatever, it still has to go through a level of management or whatever you want to call it that do not fundamentally understand this stuff, and that's where it gets distorted. And I'm sure the guy that you spoke to at Horizon had this idea for a program in mind, but it would have gone through a senior producer or whatever it might be, and it's like that's the title it's going to be. And until you get that running all the way through the show, then I don't think it's going to change.
Rubbish. That is rubbish. Let's move on to some nicer stuff then. So this week's good stuff renamed Delicious or Suspicious. Because they rhyme.
Happy with that. Look how chuffed he is.
Yeah, well, I came up with it in about 10 seconds, and I thought, shall I come up with a better one? No, that one's perfect. My first delicious thing.
I thought we were going for Jonathan Creek or Up Shit Creek.
Oh, that's a good one. We'll do that next week.
We ruined it now.
So my first delicious thing.
What? Jonathan Creek and Up Shit Creek. That's a bit rubbish.
Hey.
No,
I'm not saying.
Caroline Quentin, Julia Sawalha.
You know what? Mixed feedback. I'll take it on board.
All right.
And come back with something else, maybe.
Yeah,
okay. So my first delicious thing is the Netflix original series Narcos, which I watched a lot of last weekend, and it's freaking awesome.
Is it?
It's one of my favourite Netflix originals.
It's brand new.
Yes, brand new. And usually, when Netflix original stuff starts,
it's buzz.
It's everywhere. But for some reason, with this one, it hasn't. It's quite a hard sell. Half of it is in Spanish.
I'm not watching that, mate.
Is it Spanish?
No subtitles.
No, there's subtitles.
What is it set in Colombia?
In Colombia.
That'd be Spanish.
Yeah. So it's about Pablo Escobar and sort of how the DEA sort of started around him, and grew from being primarily going after cannabis dealers in LA and stuff like that to actually doing these amazing busts to stop cocaine coming into Miami.
Yep.
It's so good.
So it's it's got the Red Viper in it?
Yeah, it's got the Red Viper in it. He's brilliant. Okay. Yeah, he's really,
and he's
really
the agent?
He's one of the DEA. No. They're
just busting people in South
America. So he's sort of in that world as an agent, and then an American joins him, and they've got a really, really good partnership. And then you have Pablo Escobar doing all this crazy stuff as well.
70s.
His rise to power. Yeah.
And it's really good fashion in it.
Yeah,
and
their jackets are amazing. I tweeted something up they've just every scene they've got an amazing jacket on. It's so good. I went out for shopping for jackets after watching that show last weekend.
And busting people.
Yeah.
What were you selling? Well, jackets.
It's quite. I haven't finished it yet, but apparently it ends on a really, really horrible cliffhanger, which I'm kind of disappointed by because I thought we passed cliffhangers now. But it's just really, really good show.
So how many episodes?
I think it's 13 episodes.
It's pretty standard for
a Netflix, or possibly less than that.
Okay.
But it's one of the best things I've watched this year.
You gonna watch that, Alex?
I am.
Oh.
Well, I've just got to the end. Better Call Saul.
Okay.
I finally got around to watching that.
Yeah,
which I really enjoyed.
That.
I haven't watched it.
I watched 2 episodes and I really liked it and I just stopped.
It's really good.
For whatever reason.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's slow, but in the opposite end of Gamechangers, where they're trying to squeeze so much in, this has got loads of space to breathe. And there are like moments where, people don't say anything for ages. But it works because you get a better sense of all the characters are. And, it's only got Saul Goodman, and I didn't realise that it stood for Saul Goodman.
I didn't. No. Lost on me that.
I knew that, but I don't know why.
Anyway,
what do you mean? Don't know why?
And Mike is in it as well.
Really,
but like, it's a great show. Obviously not as good as Breaking Bad, but very, very enjoyable and pitched perfectly. So I'm looking for something new to watch.
Get on Narcos.
I will.
It's really good.
I will.
I really like it. What else is delicious?
Benicio del Toro. Ages ago. That's how you pronounce
it.
Right?
Just him. Yeah, he's delicious.
Ages ago, it was rumoured that he was going to be in Star Wars Episode 8. He is going to be in Star Wars Episode 8. But there was lots of kind of chat around him, whether he's going to be a good guy or a bad guy. Anyway, he's come out and he's spoken. And he said, I don't know if he's a villain. People are saying that, but it's like they read a different script than I read. It's nice to keep people in the dark. A little bit of mystery is good. If they want to believe it's the villain, then good. And I think that's something that was kind of spoken about, a lot of the characters in Episode 7 as well.
That's what we've been saying on Rebel Base all the time.
It's not as kind of black and white. So ultimately, we don't know who he's going to play. He is going to be in it. But
I missed this when it was announced. I said it happened like last week, and then I see you. Did you see it?
The beginning of September when he was kind of.
He's both in the Marvel and the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Imagine if he's interviewed him. That'd be really
crossover.
The Collector. Maybe Vader's mask.
Oh, so earlier in the week, James Gunn was on about how there's an Easter egg in Guardians of the Galaxy no one's found.
Yeah.
I saw a screenshot the other day of because I thought it might be in the collector's room. I don't know if it is it's the thing or not, but in the collector's room where
there's loads of stuff in there. Yeah,
I just thought that's a good place that there could possibly be an Easter egg.
Yeah,
there's definitely a box that looks like it has Yoda in it.
What?
I'll see if I can Google it while we're chatting, and then you guys can give your opinion.
So, other stuff that's happening. So, Episode 8 is currently filming in Ireland.
Yeah, on that little tiny island. Yes. It's all going to be on that little tiny island.
Just saying, it's filming in Ireland.
No, I know, but it's a little tiny island.
Why in Ireland? Off of Ireland.
Yeah.
Oh, was it a tiny island?
Yeah, no, sorry, I wasn't being facetious.
I thought you were. Right?
I thought you were taking the piss out of Irish people. Saying they live on a tiny island.
It's like this island off Ireland,
right?
And it's like really small and like it looks really unusual. It's really jaggedy.
Oh, interesting.
Does it look like a foreign planet?
They used it in Force Awakens.
Did they as well?
Yeah, so it's obviously an important recurring location. Right. I don't know.
Well, speaking of recurring stuff, Mark Hamill is going to be back as Luke Skywalker in some role.
So he definitely doesn't die then.
Well, no, Force Ghost. Force Ghost. That's the thing. That's the thing with Star Wars.
Yeah, but if it was a Force Ghost, why would they film in Ireland? They could just film it anyway and stick him in.
I don't know.
He'd be floating around, wouldn't he? He's not dead. He doesn't die. Confirmed.
But he was rumoured that he'd really hurt himself on set.
He has bollocks,
and he hasn't.
Yeah.
So
you just make up. We should start making up more stuff on IGN.
Yeah.
There was a picture of him pulling pints of Guinness on Twitter.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Apparently, isn't it like 2 people have died doing this particular walk, and apparently he had to be saved by some guide, and it was just like, nope, none of that happened.
Didn't hurt.
It's crazy.
He's all fine.
Oh,
do you know why?
Why?
He's a fucking Jedi. That's
why. Well, that's good then. A bit more delicious stuff. Cooper, I put this under your name, but I found it.
Oh yeah,
you got it?
Yes, I've got it. Dimension is developing a TV show. It's like a part based on Stephen King's The Mist.
Amazing.
So originally a Stephen King novella, and then it was adapted into a 2007 movie directed by Frank Darabont.
Yeah.
Was it that recent?
Yeah.
When was it?
2007.
That's not recent, dude. That's like 8 years ago.
That's not that long ago. I thought it was like years and years ago.
I mean, The Fog.
Maybe.
Is it clearing? Oh, come on.
8 years ago was a long time, man.
Is it The Fog?
Like, you didn't even have kids 8 years ago.
What?
You didn't even have kids
well, I know
8 years
that.
Ago. But like,
I don't know all of our lives are completely different. It depends your frame of reference. Like, it is both long and not. In the history of time,
what's the old horror film that involves some kind of
The Fog.
Maybe
The Fog.
John Carpenter's The Fog, where it's like a little village and then people coming out.
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking.
And
but they did remake
it with Tom Welling from Smallville.
Right.
It's terrible.
Right.
The original's really good, though.
The original was, what, 70s or something like that?
Late. Probably, early 80s.
Yeah, right. That's the one I'm thinking of.
It's really good.
It's The Mist. So, while that sounds like it's maybe less dense, it's still...
Which is denser, fog or mist?
Fog.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah, because fog...
What if you have really thick mist?
Well, then it's fog. You've
Where's your car?
You've defeated yourself. Well, it's a spectrum.
Or is it, though? There might be a...
what else is there? Like, I feel like it should be more...
A DPI?
Steve? I feel like there should be more... Well, because it's water vapour. It's basically a cloud on the ground, isn't it?
At what point does it become drizzle?
Well, when it rains.
What? Well, then it's rain, not drizzle.
No, so it's a cloud that's come down.
Hey, right. Oh, it's a low-flying cloud. Why is it not called that then?
That's what it is.
It should have been called that then, not the fog.
Oh, it's not scary to call it. That's not a good name for a novella.
Anyway,
that's a really good film. I really like
The
Low-Lying Cloud. It was one of Carpenter's best films. No, so The Mist.
The Mist is
the 2007 movie.
Yeah.
The Mist by Frank Darabont is really good. Have you seen it?
No, I've seen The Fog.
It's so good. It's on Netflix. It's amazing.
Okay.
Have you ever watched the black and white version?
Well, it's just the same, but in black and white.
No, but it's been
I know he did it properly.
Oh, it's hipster Gav has just popped out.
Have you actually seen the black and white version?
Frank Darabont wanted to make it in black and white.
I know he did.
Wasn't allowed.
Do you know, I don't know if they still do it, but in America they show Walking Dead, the repeat in black and white.
Really?
Yeah, they used to.
Really?
Comics all black and white, isn't it?
Yeah,
but that's maybe because they couldn't afford a colour artist.
It's quicker, isn't it?
Less colouring in.
Wasn't Mad Max supposed to be in black and white?
He said it'd look amazing. It'd be great in black and white. I'd love to do that in black and white.
Have you seen that version?
No. I don't think Mad Max would look good in black and white.
I watch most of my films in black and white.
Why?
I've got black and white telly. It's better, isn't it?
I watch Snooker in black and white. It's really hard to work out.
I watch Big Break.
Well,
anyway,
what was the point of this conversation?
Well, I was going to go back to it. So let me just talk about The Mist for a second.
Okay.
The Mist, the movie, is so good. There's very few examples of Lovecraftian horror on film that actually work.
Yeah.
And Del Toro's been not Benicio.
The other one.
Is wanted to be making this like Mountains of Madness movie for ages, and just can't because they say it'll cost 100 million. Darabont did The Mist on relative cheap, I think, 30-40 million, although he got less budget than he was offered because he refused to change the ending, which we won't say because it's a spoiler, but it's got a great climax.
All right, I'll have to watch
and the end of the movie,
it's hard.
There's some incredible stuff at the end of the movie that's like genuinely Lovecraftian, and I've never seen anything quite like that on film. It's really impressive.
Okay,
it's a really cool movie. These people are trapped in a shopping centre.
Yeah.
Not a shopping centre, just like a supermarket.
Yeah, supermarket.
For while this mist descends and there's monsters basically in the mist.
Right.
You can't go outside.
All right,
it's really good.
It's really good.
No more.
It's really good.
Okay,
but they're going to make that into a TV series. I don't know
that much about it.
How you do that as a TV series, because just loads of people in different houses just staying in.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to go outside.
It could be a bit like Inside Number 9. You could like focus on different people every week.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll do that.
Well, that's what I thought.
It sounds a bit like Walking Dead. I imagine it's a band of people who survive.
It sounds like Gogglebox.
Yeah, I'll watch that. Rich watch that,
because that's what I thought the sequel to Monsters was going to be, because Monsters is quite a similar sort of idea. There's like these monsters going on, the people trying to travel to like a safe zone.
Yeah.
And I thought Monsters Dark Continent was going to be other people's story then, but it's not. It's about soldiers.
It's completely different. I'm so disappointed.
Have you watched it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't watch it.
I really enjoyed Monsters,
and
I found it a chore to get to the end of Dark Continent. Don't bother.
Yeah, I probably won't.
Have either of you seen the film Spring?
Spring? No, I haven't.
That's good. Yeah, it's a horror movie, but a horror movie that I think you could kind of get behind. Mystery.
Okay.
Don't we have it here?
I'm not into kind of gore porn and stuff like that.
It's not that. It's really well shot. We'll talk more about that.
I want to check that out. So final bit of delicious news then. Me, Rich and Rory went to the Destiny... Is it the Taken King?
The
Taken King. They had a really cool launch event at the building in London that's like...
The Leadenhall building?
The Leadenhall building. It's basically one that looks like a big slide. And it was right at the top of that.
I don't know that building.
Yeah, it's quite new.
Okay.
Yeah, so we went to this... We went to this event, but obviously, like, it was really weird because the game didn't unlock till the next day. So they just had like old Destiny bits you could play.
Right.
So I was like, well, I got an interest in playing that. But what I did have an interest in playing was the table football that was there, because they had a table football and air hockey. Yeah. I really, really like table football.
I prefer air hockey.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. But I really like table football. But I'd never played Rich before. And Rich is good at a lot of stuff, but he is not good at table football.
Well, that's like Tilly. He reckons he's a bit of a dab hand at pool.
Okay.
So I just destroyed him.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Christmas party, yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's the Christmas party. That's right. And I think we played 3 games. The first game was like, let's have another. I'll beat you on the next one. Second game, third game.
They've been drinking.
Walk away. Huh?
Both been drinking.
Yeah.
So
I tend to get a little bit better when I've had a drink.
You loosen up, don't you? Just play, you play your natural game.
Yeah. It's all there.
Well, I played Rich like so many. I played Rich a couple of times, and then he was like, "Oh, you're quite good at this, aren't you?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, he's like play at my work because we had a table, and he's okay." But then it got to the point where it was like really embarrassing. Like he just couldn't do anything. So then we had a friend of ours, Pip, who was there. She came. She was on Rich's side as well, and I beat both of them to the point where Rich was so like not pissed off, but he was just really just like. Frustrated that he started doing magic with the ball, and I was like, don't do magic, don't bring that here. So he was just like, instead of like dropping the ball down, he would like do this like sort of little switch of a hand and then the ball, exactly, yeah, and then everyone would be like, oh Rich, you're really good at magic. Like, don't bring that here.
Rubbish at table football.
Rich, you are good at something, yeah, I can do it. Well, and it's back.
Yeah, come on, mate, put it on the table so I can score a goal with you. But yeah, it was really good. But it's good going to an event for a video game and then just spending all night playing foosball.
But at the same point, like if the game that you're there to see is not actually on show, then
yeah.
We went to we had a pizza last night, and when we got there, they only had one table available. Yeah. And they were like, "Oh, do you mind? The table is a foosball table." We're like, "Yeah, that's fine.
That's perfect for us." Actually, yeah.
So like a foosball.
It was free as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. I had a glass top.
Yeah.
Because
when they said that to me, I was
pizza was on this little man's head. It was just like
flipping it.
You had all these pieces that were slightly moving. Right, I'm going to show you a picture now.
Okay.
From Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
And I don't know what you think of this.
That's Yoda, man.
What do you think?
That's Yoda, bro.
It does look like.
Looks like.
It does look like Yoda.
Well done. Okay.
Well done to whoever spotted that.
Let's move on to some suspicious news.
Speaking of suspicious stuff, so it came out this week that Jurassic World tops the charts so far.
Okay.
In terms of the film with the most mistakes for 2015.
Like what kind of mistakes?
Well, how many? First of all, how many do you think it's got? How many mistakes are there?
And it's top for the year.
It's top for the year so far, yes.
100?
Around about 35.
18.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's all right.
I thought that's perfectly acceptable, especially when you hear what some of them are.
That's ridiculous. Who's making this website? Like, there was 18 mistakes?
Well, that's the voice you need to read these out.
Okay, right, okay.
Unfortunately, I'm going to put the names of the people who suggested these. But This is a continuity mistake. Just before the Indominus Rex ambush, in one shot, the Asset Containment Unit Trooper Myers is equipped with a taser rifle. In the next, she's equipped with a cattle prod. This happens at least 4 times.
Imagine this dude just like fuming.
Are they counting
4 times now? 4 times.
Are they counting those as 4 mistakes or 1 mistake?
I'm counting it as 1 mistake.
Okay, right, yeah.
This is a revealing mistake. When the 2 boys crawl out of the water onto the dirt bank after jumping from the cliff to escape the Indominus Rex, the ground beneath them moves as if there's some sort of carpet underneath the muddy ground. It's like, okay.
Nah.
So
there's another one that's kind of it's physically
it's when it takes you out of the moment.
It's physically impossible for a woman or anyone else in brackets to sprint cross country and engage in all blah blah blah. You can't do what she does
in high heels.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
This is what people do.
Inside Jurassic World's main control room, Chris Pratt looks at a view screen depicting paramilitary tracking. A paramilitary team tracking down the I-Rex. In a homage to Aliens, the screen is POV cams of all the guys there. But all of the heart rate monitors are exactly the same.
Which is a mistake that Ridley Scott made.
In Prometheus. They even say that here.
Really? Maybe that's what he was doing. He's doing on purpose. Did you send that in?
A couple more. Yeah. When the brothers exit the lake they dove in, their wet hair styles change every single angle, at least 5 times in 3 seconds.
They're stressed. Like, This person,
it's more than one person.
Enjoy any movie.
User submitted. Last one I'm going to read out. One sec. In the scene when Hoskins first approaches the raptor cage, his watch shows approximately 2 p.m. After the rescue of the staff member who falls into the pit, the shot cuts back and his watch shows 1 p.m.
Been there for ages.
Jesus.
Oh, no, this is the worst one. I swear. Okay. This is proper, like, what a fucking wanker. In the airport scene, this is not Dane County Airport as shown, as they do not use letters for their gates. They use numbers instead.
Oh, my God. You know what? I bet Colin Trevorrow is crying into his big pile of money and Star Wars.
Can you imagine that guy on a date just be like, oh, did you enjoy that, Nancy? Yes, I did enjoy that, Dave. Oh, well, let me tell you something. It wasn't in Dane County Airport, so yeah, for nothing.
Anyway, so
I want to leave you.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm taking the children.
And that's not a mistake. So bearing in mind, only 18 mistakes.
Okay.
So top 10 movies which have the most mistakes. Number 10, Star Wars, 276.
Holy shit.
Jaws, 277.
Oh my God.
Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, 289. Harry Potter, The Chamber of Secrets, 297. Prisoner of Azkaban, 315.
Harry Potter,
they need better people on the Harry Potter films.
Well, if you think how many people are involved in that, though, how many like extras and stuff, because I bet a lot of those are like, I can see his watch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. One of the things was like, I can see his reflection in his tank. It is still tank on his back. Oh, God. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse the Black Pearl. One big mistake it was ever made, but no, really, 385. Superman 4, 413. And the top 3, Wizard of Oz, 418. The Birds, 546. But number 1, Apocalypse Now, 561.
I bet a lot of the Birds ones are on purpose. Like, yeah, because who else does that? Martin Scorsese does that a lot as well. He puts like actual mistakes in. Like, it did a lot with Shutter Island. It's like really weird like editing things, and the same with Wolf of Wall Street as well.
The Shining is a great example because like Stanley Kubrick, OCD, and obviously any big film with production shooting on main days, errors sneak in anyway. But there's one like there's a chair that disappears and then comes back in a scene, and it's almost like at what point is he doing that for an effect?
To see if you're kind of
like, why is the hotel changing?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we should do a podcast special where we go through all 546
podcast mistakes.
Like, what do you have a favourite?
Imagine
these people in real life, like
ranking the IGN UK.
These people in like the workplace. Last time I came to your desk, you were holding a pen, and now it's just like I just changed what was in my hand. Nah.
Do you have a favourite mistake? If you do, let us know. IGN_UK feedback.
You're not allowed to say the bit in Star Wars where the stormtrooper bangs his head on the door. No, that's the only one I can think of.
There's a really good one in Gladiator where where the chariot flips up and you can see the giant sort of whatever hydraulics thing.
I think that's some of my favourites. The ones where it's like period and then somebody that's completely out.
Yeah, I think in Troy you can just see a plane flying overhead.
I think they'll probably win.
Yeah, but that's like we were saying that about Gamechangers. Like. I'm not sure if they are Apple headphones, but he looks like he's wearing an iPod in the opening scene. And
he's got an iPhone later on, definitely, because he's got an iPhone ringtone. I know what my favourite mistake is, and it was a really weird one, because it's in The Shining, but it's only in certain versions of The Shining. So obviously Shining shot in whatever it was for cinema. When it's on TV, there's a shot of the helicopter. Have you seen this?
Oh yes, so you can see the in the opening.
You can see a shadow. Yeah, you can like it's obviously that amazing shot at the beginning of The Shining where they follow them all the way up. Yeah. But in the TV version, because obviously in the cinema it would have been cut off.
They changed the ratio. It's called, it's like a process called like pan and scan.
Yeah,
where they like have to recenter the frame.
Yeah, right. But because of that, you can see the helicopter in the thing, but it's only ever in the TV version.
That's crazy. Like with a lot of films, when you used to watch them on TV in 4:3, you just get a section of the movie. That's so weird.
Yeah, well, like that's why like people are like, oh, you can see the boom mic and stuff. The reason for that is you wouldn't be able to see it in the cinema, but you would be able to see it like.
That's weird. That's like,
strange, isn't it? Very strange.
Different aspect ratios for different.
Rupert, what else is suspicious this week?
Rupert Wyatt. A month before Gambit starts shooting, Rupert Wyatt has left the production of the movie, which is quite strange because this comes off the back. Because we heard about the Channing Tatum was attached to play Remy LeBeau like over a year ago, and then he was there at Comic-Con.
I broke that news. I broke that news to the world. by interviewing, what's her name? Laura Schuler-Donna.
Yeah,
interviewed her at the Days of Future Past premiere, and she was like, yeah, it's going to be Gambit.
Yeah, and
broke that news to the world.
And then he appeared at Comic-Con with all the Fox, Marvel stars, all happy as Larry, and then 2 weeks later, it's like, oh, he's maybe not playing Gambit anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Yeah. Why is he not locked down already? You've been talking about him. You've got him on stage at Comic-Con, and yet he's not signed a contract yet, which is crazy. And then the director leaves a month before production. That's like, what does that mean? Yeah. And after Trank, what's happening here?
What happens with all these Sony films as well? It feels like they're just not in control, like the way Marvel are.
I just think,
I guess Edgar Wright left Ant-Man.
But I just think, but even if he left, there's like a plan in place, and there's still a process to, and this could happen. Yes. But I think Ant-Man's a great comparison. Like a movie that wasn't far away from production. This is even less time. Yeah. If you're a decent director, unless you're Gambit's your favourite thing ever. Yeah. Why would you want to take on someone else's project? So much pre-production and casting will be done without you. Yeah. No self-respecting director really wants to make someone else's film.
Joe Johnston did it for Jurassic Park 3. I can't remember who it was, but somebody
dropped out.
Yeah, somebody dropped out really.
That's so hard. Obviously get a good paycheck, but it's a bit.
But it's taint on your CV. For the rest of
you probably get offered.
Would you do it?
I would do it because, let's face it, what else am I directing?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I've got offered it. Yeah, I'd do it because I reckon I could probably do something with that.
Yeah,
get Rich in, car consultant.
Hop on LinkedIn.
Oh, he's leaving now, Rich. We were gonna do a video before when Gambit came out. How to throw a card like Gambit. Can't do that now. Oh, that'll end up on bloody MTV.
Yeah. Yeah, and Now You See Me Too. He'll do the junket for MTV. Like, come on then.
Flirting with Isla Fisher again. Embarrassment.
What a prick. Also, some suspicious news. Paul Bettany and Jason Statham are having beef.
Really?
Can you believe that?
He's shooting off his old mouth, the old vision.
Well, it starts with Statham though. This is the thing. So I thought, I love Statham, and I was ready to leap to his defense, but he was slagging off Marvel film basically.
Oh, because somebody asked him about Bullseye.
Was it? Yeah.
Because he was rumoured for Bullseye, and he was quite dismissive about that when someone asked him.
Well, basically, the reason he was slagging him off is because he does a lot of his own stunts, and he says the reason he can't watch Marvel stuff is because you looked at it and you're just like, well, that's not him, that's not him, that's not him. He sort of feels they're not realistic, and he's like, I could take my grandmother to the Avengers set, and they could make her look really, really good because of the amount of different stunt doubles and stuff they have on it. So obviously slagging off the work the Avengers are doing. Paul Bettany said. He was quite classy with it, but he said, obviously we work with a lot of stunt doubles and stuff. Maybe Statham should try getting an acting double.
Ooh,
bitchy.
Ooh, the vision's got class.
Yeah.
Did Statham come back?
He hasn't yet.
Just gonna punch him in the face when he sees him.
You telling me Mark Ruffalo's not doing that stuff?
Yeah. He's not.
That's not him.
No, that's not him. That's absolutely not him. I don't know. I don't like it when people I like have beef. Especially, especially not Paul Bettany and Jason Statham, because I'd like to see Jason Statham in the Marvel Universe at some point.
He's burning that bridge.
Yeah.
That's a bit of unwise.
Also, fair play to Paul Bettany, because I'm pretty sure that Statham will just nut him.
Yeah. Yeah, you say unwise, right? There's someone who I really don't.
Just Disney in general, you might piss me off.
Yeah, is what's the name of the dude who played John McClane's son, who's now in Suicide Squad?
Jai Courtney.
Yeah. So I interviewed him about Star Wars, I can't remember what film it was, and I said to him would you be up for being in Star Wars? He was so dismissive of Star Wars and people who like Star Wars. He was like, I would never do something like that. So was Jude Law actually, but this guy and then now he's doing a Suicide Squad movie.
What, Captain Boomerang.
Yeah. Jai Courtney, what a dick. Well, there we go. That's delicious and suspicious for this week. Have we got any delicious or suspicious feedback? Who wants to start?
Okay, but before we go on the feedback, I just want to do some stuff. Okay, so last week on the podcast, I mentioned how we might rebrand, rejig the podcast.
Yeah. Yes.
And as editor-in-chief, Alex, I want to run by some names by you and get your live feedback on these names, okay? So these have been suggested by Ben Harris.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think he actually works in advertising. He says, these are the products of my incessant advertiser's brain. Okay, so right. One's with a duck hunt theme.
Okay.
IGN UK, The Lookout.
The Lookout.
The Lookout.
I like that.
The Lookout.
No.
Feedback, it's fine if you want to give it. Hunter's Lodge.
Hunter's Lodge.
Sounds like a Destiny podcast.
Sounds like something nefarious would happen in there. Bit Twin Peaksy.
Yeah.
Bit.
No,
I don't feel like that.
Bit suspicious.
Have you ever listened to something called the podcast Startup? It's all about like these people starting a company and what they do an entire episode about like naming and things like that. So it's a really cool like podcast. It shows like the evolution of a startup company and how they do everything, even from like giving out like shares and things like that to the naming thing. And you do an entire episode on the name, and they go to this like brand consultant, and the names that they give them are mental.
Well, it's the name
it's
of
like crazy.
The name of like PR agencies that we work with. I literally think you can just call them anything.
Yeah.
Like
there is
Billabong and Yo-Yo.
Well, these people, this company that they worked with, they came up with Google and stuff like that. They came up with all these different names, but they came up with the one thing they came up with is
they came up with the name Google.
Yeah. And they come up with
Google. It's like 100 million or something. It's like a number thing, isn't it?
Right.
But the name they come up with for this company and startup is Gimlet Media, and from the start the guy is like, I don't think I like that. This fucking company's called that now. So it's actually called Gimlet Media. All his podcasts start from Gimlet Media. Yes, it is. What awful name. And you can tell in the episode he really hates it. Anyway, sorry. Going on.
IGN UK Gimlet. on target.
Nope.
Hunter's Dispatch.
Why Hunters? What's up
like the duck on theme. Right, we're moving over to like more kind of.
So hang on, what was the first one though?
The Lookout.
I like that.
Okay, more like mixed media, more like in IGN's wheelhouse. The Watchtower.
No, that's the name of a Jehovah's Witness weekly magazine.
That's where we're taking it. Instant Transmission.
I don't get that.
I have a problem.
That sounds like
it's pre-recorded.
Instant Transmission sounds like a really shit wrestler's finishing move.
It's my finishing move. Yeah. It's a DBZ reference. The Almanac.
The what?
The Almanac.
The Almanac.
Okay. You said the Old Manac.
The old maniac. Right. Okay, we're moving on.
I don't actually mind the Almanac.
Thank you, Ben Harris.
But I don't think it's got anything to do with what we do.
It doesn't. But Lookout does. The Lookout.
We're looking out for you.
Look out. Something's coming out this week.
But it's true because like
look out for this game. It's out on Friday.
We're all on the lookout.
Yeah. Is that
we send Kamali down. He gets the Guild Wars stuff. He comes back to the Lookout.
Look out.
This is what we're going to do. Look out. I've got the next piece of feedback. Is that what we're going to do?
Easy.
Everything.
But also we're looking out for you.
Look out, lads. Netflix original Narcos is good.
Yeah. Look out for the Mr. TV series.
Look out for that on telly.
Right.
Okay.
Quick.
Right. Some more from Justin McConnell. I'm just going to go through them. Okay.
Yeah.
He's from the US. The Redcoats. The red coats.
Butlins.
The red capes are coming. Gamers and Mash.
Nope.
Krupa Troopers.
Nope.
Fuck off.
Games Bonding.
No. What?
Video games. What's all this then?
What's all this?
Playing with the UK kids. Don't play with our kids. Play your own kids.
What?
No one's playing with my kids except me. Limey Lowdown.
No.
Racist. IGN Encyclopedia Britannica. It rolls off the tongue, that one.
I see where he's going with it.
I like the idea.
Even
better written, that one. Okay, so yeah, probably not.
Okay,
is that it?
That's it.
I like the Lookout.
Thanks, Justin.
Because look out, guys.
Well, look out. I've got the next bit of feedback.
Okay.
And it's from Ethan Hunt.
Right.
Ethan Hunt's
apparently. He says, "Hi guys, just mailing in with a bad cinema experience. Once me and my friend went to a cinema, can't remember which film it was, might have been Pink Panther 2 or some shit like that. Anyway, he had a Fanta Frozen, one of those slushy drinks with a sort of plastic dome over the top of the cup. After he'd finished the beverage, he had the cup between his thighs, and he accidentally squeezed the bottom of the cup, so it popped off, and it landed on the head of the bulky man in front of him, on his perfectly round, shiny head, apparently.
That's funny.
Anyway, the big guy turned around, stood up, and kicked off at him, looked in the eyes that filled him with fear. So, word of advice, never pop your top in the cinema."
I like the bulky man, like he's like the boogeyman.
Yeah.
The bulky man's gonna come and get you.
Boogeyman!
But you can imagine that. It'll go.
Yeah, I've got a really bad one.
He must be squeezing his legs hard there.
From Brandon Fusco. It says, a couple of years ago, my wife and I went to a packed 7 p.m. screening of World War Z. About an hour into the movie, during a particularly dramatic and tense scene, an older gentleman storms across the theatre, up the stairs on the left, and shouts, "Who here told my grandson to shut up? Who's the tough guy who told a kid to shut up?" Someone from the back of the audience yelled at the guy that we were trying to watch a movie, and the guy yelled at the audience member to mind his own business. After fuming and grumbling for about a minute, he finally left.
That sounds like something you would do, to be honest.
Shout at a little kid?
Yeah.
I would if he was talking.
So it was you?
I shout at anyone talking.
Was it you?
For talking?
No, I've never seen...
context.
I've never seen World War Z. Are you talking, mate?
This is entitled Cinema Hell from Russ. I am normally a mild-mannered type and do not condone vigilant justice, but...
I do.
The film was Team America, and I was on a date, and I had sat on the second to back row at the cinema, whereas as the cinema was full when I arrived. From the moment the advert started, through all of the trailers, 3/4 into the film, a gang of lads and their girlfriends who were sat directly behind us decided they would talk, laugh at each other's jokes, kick the seats, and throw sweets at the audience in front of them.
No, none of that.
The atmosphere in the cinema was tense. You could sense the level of frustration we all felt at being stuck with the old British reserve of not saying anything. But 3/4 of the way in, a Malteser landed in my lap. And that was it. Seeing red, I spun in my seat, leapt over the chairs and grabbed the first lad I could find by his lapels, pulling him close towards me. This stunned his friends into silence. I said, "One more Malteser goes past me."
And you were in trouble.
I said, "One more Malteser goes past me, I'm going to hold you personally responsible." I bellowed at him. With that, I threw the half-melted Malteser at him and climbed back into my seat, apologising to my date.
Nice.
When the credits ended, and when the credits arrived, the entire line bolted for the door, and I never saw them again. If only they'd known what a coward I really am. I learned 2 important rules that day. Always sit on the back row, so nobody can sit behind you, and don't throw away Maltesers.
Good.
Oh, I could do some Maltesers right now.
A good eye at the Maltesers.
Yeah. Daryl Sharp, past couple of weeks, you've been talking about bad cinema experiences, but he's only just realised that Chris has been missing from the conversation, which is ironic, seeing as the resident Barry Norman, or should that be Jonathan Ross or Claudia Winkleman?
None of them.
He's definitely the Winkleman. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Anyway, with all the film talk, curious, what was the first 18 movie you watched in the cinema? And by watched, I mean paid for, not sneaked in without paying. I've never sneaked in to a cinema without paying.
My dad, I've told you this before, my dad
How
took
do
me
you
to
do
see...
that?
My dad took me to see Terminator 2, but I think we paid
That was
for
an 18 there.
Wasn't it?
15.
Nah.
Oh, wasn't it?
No.
First time it is an 18. I don't know about cinema release, but on DVD it's not.
That was never an 18.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It was never an 18.
I'm
my first 18. Not an 18.
Yeah. Scream 3 then was my first 18.
So you didn't even see the first Scream in the cinema?
No. I would never have got into that. I wasn't old enough to see
You would have been
Scream
like
3.
6.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't have been 6.
When did Scream come out? 1997?
Anyway,
11 I would have been.
I think Scream was maybe mine.
Yeah?
I saw more at home.
Yeah.
What was Alien? Was that?
Probably. I don't know why. That might have been before the 18 certificate.
What was your first in cinema?
Blade 2.
That's an 18.
By Del Toro, yeah. Yeah.
So I wish.
There you go.
What have you got?
Horrible theatre experience from Billy Bogus.
Okay.
His was Pulp Fiction, by the way.
Oh, no, that's a good one. Better than ours.
Scream came out before.
Scream's an amazing film. I watched it again recently.
Yeah, I watched it the other week.
Oh, sorry?
When did Scream come out?
Like 97?
Oh, in that case, I definitely saw Pulp Fiction.
98. I think it's 98 or 99. I think, yeah. While you do that, then I'll read this out.
I never saw Reservoir Dogs at the cinema.
No. I'll read this out then. I need advice about horror films, says Mark Garcia. I love horror film plots, and when I hear about films like Goodnight Mommy and It Follows, I generally want to watch them. Problem is, I can't deal with tension in films at all. It started with Sleepy Hollow when I was a kid. Seeing that severed head looking through the floorboards changed me. My fiancé persuaded me to watch Woman in Black in the cinema, and I couldn't stop fidgeting to distract myself / cover my ears. The atmosphere makes me nauseously uncomfortable. Again, I tried to watch Babadook the other day, but had to leave anytime I thought something would happen. How do you deal with this? Do you know anyone that has? I'm alright with stuff like that.
I just don't watch them.
Right, really?
Maybe it's not for you then. No. Or go for something.
Yeah. Well, I just think
the monsters.
What She's All That.
But if you're watching something, that's what I'd rather watch.
She's All That is a bloody good film.
But if you feel uncomfortable watching something, then why watch it?
Stop watching it. Well, I guess he's trying to say he misses out, isn't he?
Look at it and
he misses out on It Follows. Or something
I don't feel like I am.
Yeah.
So.
There we go. Have you got any more?
I'm just going to read this one about Billy Bogus. Okay. He went to see, in Philadelphia, was with some friends. They went to see Danny Boyle film 127 Hours with James Franco. Yeah. During the scene where Franco gruesomely cuts his own arm off, spoiler, I hear a girl behind me start to freak out. I turn to look, and the guy she's with is unconscious and sliding out of his seat. Wow. He ragdolls onto the floor, hitting his head pretty hard on the ground, and his girlfriend starts screaming hysterically. The lights came on, and they stopped the movie. After a 20-minute intermission involving the guy being carried outside, an ambulance coming, and everybody being pretty freaked out.
Jesus.
Well, then the guy just fainted because of the blood.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty gruesome, I guess. I don't think it would make me faint.
Well, that's like, although because I get really bad, like I'm no good with heights.
Really?
And that, what's the new like Man on Wire?
Man on Wire, the Robert Zemeckis film, yeah.
But the new one, whatever it's called,
The Walk.
On the Empire Leicester Square IMAX. That was like, oh my god, that made me start going a bit funny in my chair. I wouldn't pass out, but it was like,
I'd love it if you passed out.
In general, I would love it. I would love it if you passed out.
Just in general.
Alex, you probably heard that podcast listener. Alex, I heard the microphone and it fell out of its holder.
We used to play a game at school. This is awful, but we used to make people pass out by doing this thing. Have you ever done that?
Where you put chloroform on their mouth from behind? I used to do that. I used to do that to loads of girls.
You like cross your arms and like breathe it, like stand against a wall, and if someone's putting lots of pressure on there as you're breathing in and out, you will pass out. So what we used to do
not much to do in Wales, is there?
There's not, no. So on this like really small corridor, what we used to do was like there'd be like 4 people standing one side, 4 people standing the other. Then people would like, it's a really, really short corridor, so like you could barely three people could barely fit through if they were standing side by side.
That's not a corridor.
Listen.
Oh, are you in a box?
No. And so we would get somebody to pass out, and then we would push them through the thing, and everyone would just kick them. That was a game that we did.
Do you do science? There's lessons?
Wow.
Not really, no. Just made people pass out.
That thing as well at school, like when people used to turn their eyelids inside out.
It's gross.
I haven't seen somebody do that since I was at school.
We'd at work if someone went, hey Al, do you want to come in this meeting room for a second? Like, head of sales, check this out.
I did a thing to someone the other day. You know when you put your hands like that and you crisscross your hands with somebody else and it looks like a vagina? I remembered about it the other day, and I did it to my friend in the pub, and he was just disgusting. He was like, I'm not doing that. I was like, go on, let's have a look. We can have a look at a vagina. And I made him do it in the pub. It's like, he just looked over the bar and I was just like, what the fuck are you doing? It's a vagina. It looks like a vagina.
Come over.
You
make the other thing with his eyes.
My mate's passed out. I'm kicking him.
Has this pub got a really short corridor?
Right, that's the end then.
1996 Scream came out.
Oh, 1996.
Anyway, so yeah, Pulp Fiction. I saw that before.
Good. So what do we need to end on? Any information on Podcast 300? It's sold out.
It's sold out. Tickets have gone. The first allocation.
Yeah, we might have some more depending what's going on. So if you missed out on the first batch, then keep your ears listening to this podcast. Also, keep an eye out on the Facebook group, the Duck Hunters.
And IGN UK Twitter. Probably put it on there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, people have been writing in and asking whether it will be live streamed, and it's looking at this point, it's not going to be live streamed, but the entire episode and a film version of it will go live the following week.
Yes.
So you won't miss out if you're not there.
And Rich Bearpark will have left by then, so hopefully there won't be any technical problems.
So. Don't know. Thank you very much for listening.
Yeah. Until next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You intro it, Gav.
Okay.
You love yourself.
I'm about to do it. No. All right.